welcome to the Hey Sister podcast, where sisters share real opinions and have honest conversations about life, growth, and everything in between. Hey sisters, how y'all doing?
Hey, sister.
Well, before we hop into the episode, let's just do a quick check-in, see how everyone's feeling. Just put an emotion to your feelings. Like how is it that you're coming into this episode?
I am sleepy. I'm always sleepy. Always ready for now.
Oh, dang. I was going to say I'm tired, but I guess I'll just say I feel hopeful. Sure.
Ooh.
Good.
I love that. I'm feeling pretty good. I went to the gym today, so I feel a little energized from that still.
Good.
Love that. I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little anxious, more so because Monday is like around the corner. And I don't know. I feel like I always get anxiety over the weekends, especially after not being at work for a little bit. So we'll get through it though. We'll get through it. But for today's episode, I'm excited for this one because it was a pretty big topic of conversation that had the internet all up in arms and riled up. But there was an article that came out a couple, months ago at this point now, but we didn't get to talk about it when it came out, so we'll get to talk about it now. But it was all about the title of the article. It was a Vogue article written by a Black girl named Chanté Joseph, so shout out to her because she caused a lot of conversation on the internet, and I'm sure that's just like a big accomplishment and accolade for her to have. But the title of this article was, "Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now?" And I think the title itself was a little bit of like a shock value to people because it's like, well, is it actually? Some people are like, yes, it actually is. And others are like, no. And especially men, that got them involved in the conversation too, because they're like, well, we're not embarrassing. But the gist of the article, if you actually like take a second to read it, it really explores how having a boyfriend has started to feel a little bit more uncool, and more so in the comparison of, maybe a few years ago, decade or so ago, having a boyfriend was like the thing. Like if you didn't have a boyfriend, it's like, oh, like what are you doing kind of thing. Which I've never particularly subscribed to, but like it was definitely like more of a societal, you have this on your arm kind of thing, more back in the day, whereas like more now, no, it doesn't. There's not really any type of, people don't look down on you for being single in certain circles. I can't say that blanket, but like it's much more looked at as a signal of like independence and freedom to be single and to not have a man on your arm. I liked the way that I saw a summary, and I liked the way that they phrased it, and it was saying how singleness isn't described as like some sad waiting room anymore, and it's more of like a use this time to like go have fun and like do all the things that you want to do per se. So I wanted to have a conversation about this because I think that it's something that we've kind of seen develop even over our lives. Like I know relationships and singleness looked different decades ago, and even in our lives they've kind of developed, like sharing your boyfriend, putting him on Instagram. Do you post him? Do you not? It's just a very layered thing. So I'll start with a question, but I also just want to share a couple of stats that kind of like back this up too. Just according to certain data sources, adults in the US across the board are waiting longer to get married. That's something that we've all kind of been aware of, but the age difference is kind of growing. So in the 1950s, the age that adults were getting married was their early 20s. And maybe some of our parents can actually like back that up too, because I think my mom was like 22 when she got married, something like that, something crazy. Whereas like at my age, that was not even in the picture. Whereas now the age is around 30 for men and around like 28.8, around 29 for women. So it's just getting higher and higher. And then the share of adults between 25 years old and 54 years old who are not married or living with a partner has risen 11% in the past 30 years. So it's not just like a feeling that people are getting married later or people are staying single longer. It's actually something that's backed up with data. But before we get into the conversation, I'll start with the question. So where do you guys think this idea of having a boyfriend being embarrassing came from?
Okay. I was kind of thought of this just now. I think I have a great answer. The answer is social media. 30 years ago, it did not exist. If we think about, I think it was Matt Barnes. Okay, I literally just saw an article just now trying to find it, where I guess he just got married to his new partner. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with like his story, but like I'm pretty sure back in the day he was like married to I want to say she was like a housewife or something, and she cheated on him with his basketball player like teammate. And I literally just read this article that was saying like, over a year ago he was caught cheating with some other girl and everyone online was talking about it. So this kind of made me think like, well, people have been cheating since fucking 30 BC. But the only issue is no one knew about it and it wasn't scattered online. So I just feel like, of course, like men and in general are embarrassing and should not be doing these things to women and vice versa. But I think honestly the biggest part of it is like people just don't want to be like perceived in that way. And once your business is out online, and it's like, oh, now everyone knows. Now I can't take it back because everyone knows. And 30 years ago, when your man cheated, you went right on back. So I'm just saying, the social media, the girl, and I don't condone cheating. You literally should not cheat. But I really think these days people are just like more embarrassed about like, I don't want to post my man because something's gonna come out. So
that is so true, because I feel like even back in the day we heard more parents and grandparents being like, what happens in the house stays in the house, like don't put our business out there, XYZ. Whereas like now your business is like by default out there. Like it's just like you have so much access on social media, on your kids, if you're not on social media your kids are, kind of thing. And so it's like there's just many more entry points too. So that's a really good point.
That is a really good point, because I even think when I first started dating my boyfriend, he didn't have social media, and I was like golden. I said, that's my ticket. That's my way to, because God forbid my man follows another woman. Like that just, and like that could be an okay thing, but it just looks so bad. Like there's such like a stigma around that. Because how dare you like another woman's photo who is also our friend? So like there's just so many different like rules to it. And I feel like because men can be embarrassing, men and having a boyfriend is embarrassing. Like at the end of the day, I even find myself like, if I'm talking to someone, especially a new person, and I say my boyfriend too many times, I'm like, oh God, I didn't kill that. Because why am I like, it just feels like it shouldn't be something that I'm trying to like force upon people and like flex, because it really is just like a fact and not like something that like makes me better than anyone. So I do find myself being aware of it. And my boyfriend isn't embarrassing, thank God. And I think that's like, you gotta find somebody who isn't embarrassing, but it's hard because there's so many men out there, just dogs. You see things, y'all hear things all the time, real people, fake people, older, our age, and it's like, wow, I just can't imagine. And I feel like men are more dogs than girls. No matter what a girl does, I'm like, a man has done 10 times worse. No matter what. So yeah, at the end of the day, the idea became because men are embarrassing at the end of the day. They can be.
And I do remember what something you said reminded me, and maybe y'all don't remember this because you guys aren't that much younger, but like we were more OG Instagrammers. Instagram used to show you. You used to have a feed where it was Michael liked this picture, Maya liked this picture, and she commented and said this. Like the business used to be out on Front Street for real. Like,
And also, you know how it would be like you would like give ratings, but like you didn't have like DMs and stuff. You had to put it in their comments, like say what you said.
I will say Instagram is still super messy because anything my boyfriend likes, it pops up on my TL. So if it's like something, I'm like, oh, what'd you like this for? And
it's kind of started that.
And he's like, oh, I was gonna send you. He's like, I was gonna send you this outfit to get. I'm like, oh, okay. So I think it's fun. So I think it's funny because you still are like, it's still the algorithm still kind of like puts stuff in your faces, but I'm not sure like how. I feel like that probably only happens because we like DM each other a lot. So maybe it's just like the people that you DM the most. You kind of see what they like on the TL. But I think that's still kind of messy.
Yeah. I think, responding back to the question, I think like mine's a similar vein to like Amaya, and like social media has like amplified like what a man can do. And I feel like you're always like thinking like, dang, like this happened to all these people, like all the story times on TikTok, like and like all those stories. Like I recently saw like the church one about that church in Minnesota, and like this, long story short, this like pastor's wife, it's so funny if you know Lorraine, shout out to Lorraine went to this church. One of the pastors one of the pastors was like getting married to this other like lady in the church, but he was cheating on her with somebody else in the church, and like now the church is taking his side and like saying that she shouldn't even went online and said all this stuff. She has a baby with this man in the church too.
What?
But like all these
Oh.
story times, like what was that one like long story time like
Recent
who
sex
F did I
did I
marry?
Yeah.
Yes, like all these story times. It's just like wow. I feel like you're always waiting on edge. Like, is this man going to embarrass me? Because these men really do be
Mhm.
embarrassing people out here. So I think it's just like that idea of like men really can embarrass the hell out of you, but like it's like, do I trust this man not to embarrass me? And that's can you trust him?
Yeah, no, for sure. And in that same vein, I guess when you guys hear the term decentering men, what does that mean to you? Because I feel like there's two different sides of the spectrum. Some people are like, and the far sides of the spectrum, like some people are like decentering men means I never want to even interact with men. Men are like the worst human beings on earth. Like, anything that they do, I don't want to be associated. And others are like very up under their partners, men. Like I feel like we've all encountered a woman who like very clearly centers men at least once in our life before, where it's like, oh, well, if we can't go to this club where this man is going to be, or we should go to this place because this is where the niggas be. Like, I think that like we've all like kind of encountered that at like some point in our life. And I mean, that's not like I'm not saying it's a bad thing to like want to go to a club where men are, but there are certain women who like every choice that they make, it seems to like tie back to like a man or finding a man or like doing something for a man. So I guess when you guys hear the term decentering men, how do you interpret that for yourselves?
Yeah, I think it's really valuable for women to decenter men because you have to have like a certain sense about yourself and independence. And I think a prime example of someone who does that very well and someone who's like low key my idol right now is Zohran Mamdani's, the mayor of New York City's wife, Rama. She is like,
did not even know he was married. So
that's
yes,
what I'm
serious.
saying. Like they're so
I
like
had no clue.
they're like their individual selves and they both bring so much to the table. Not that I know them for real, but I have I'm like they're just both great individual people. But I was like after he got like, what do you call that? After he got voted in, but before he got sworn in, I was checking out her like Instagram, and every month she makes like one Instagram post a month, and she posts all the things that inspired her to make art because she's an animator, an illustrator, and a ceramist. And it was like right before November 4th, right before we voted, and she posted like 20 pictures and none of them were about her man running for mayor. And I was like, I love that so much. It inspired me so much because my man was running for mayor. Unfortunately, that would be all in my story. Like it would be, I posted even more than she posted her own man. And I'm like, I'm so proud of him. But like I feel like she does a really good example of someone who like just values her independence and herself because like you said, we go into the club, and I obviously think it's now different for me that I am in a relationship where I don't want to go to the club and talk to men. Like one, I can't, like that's not my vibe. And for us to go out, and then it's fine if you want to talk to men, but then to be like, the night is ruined because you didn't find your man. Oh my God. Is that my problem? I can't even dance. Literally. So I think it's very important
came here to dance.
All have have some sense of independence, whether you're in a relationship or not. I think it's important men cannot be your whole world.
Agree. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, yeah, definitely agree with what Amaya is saying. Of course, it's not like a bad thing, but I think it is a little bit of like a bad thing if you're like planning what you're doing with your other girlfriends around like trying to find, I don't know, I don't want to like say like trying to find a man because I'm in a relationship too. But I think like even when I was single, it's like I want to go somewhere that's fun. Niggas are everywhere. Like you can go to the grocery store. Niggas are there. Like it's not hard to find them. So it's like, and I think also it's like I always kind of had like this mindset, like the man for you or whoever is like your next man, if it's not like your husband yet or whatever, he's gonna fall on your lap. So like you just running around like, oh, this man. Well, it's probably none of those men because you think about it too much. Like, and I think it's kind of like you guys were saying, like just having your own independence. And I think it's also kind of annoying to like drag your friends with you when you're like, oh, this man says he's gonna be here, and then we go somewhere and it's not fun, and I'm sitting here and you're over here like arguing with this man. Like, well, now my night is ruined.
No, literally. And I think it's even a step further than planning your life for like events or like what you're going to do around men. There's also the girls where like their entire personality changes around men, and it's like,
Oof.
why are you talking like that?
Why
like,
you sound like that?
Doing that?
Yeah.
Like,
You've never made this many jokes before, ever.
Literally, like, what are we talking about? What are we doing?
And the girls who are like meaner to you in front of men. Oh my God.
I was gonna say that exactly. Like the girls whose personality changes. I think I would take, we're gonna go to this club where all the niggas are and the man that I'm talking to and the man I want to find. I would take that 8 weeks in a row before I take one time dealing with a girl that like her entire personality changes, because I've been around that and I'm just like, this isn't what like I want to even be surrounded, because you shouldn't have to try that hard.
No.
Like, you just be chill, just calm down a little bit. So it's like, I think that those are like patterns that I've noticed, especially as I've like gotten older. I think it was most prevalent in like middle school, high school. I think college people started growing out of it a little bit, and now that we're adults, it really just feels like a little cherry pick every now and then. You'll kind of like see that kind of behavior. But I think that like my friendships when I was much younger kind of taught me like, no, this is not what I like want to be surrounded by.
I was gonna add off of that, like very similar, and like knowing who you were before a relationship and like knowing what was important to you, knowing like the people that stood behind you. Like Amaya was saying, when I go to the club, I want to be with my girls and just dance. Like that is a good night to me. I don't go to the club on a hunt personally for a man. That's a waste of time. I just want to go have fun. And so like I agree, there are people who do have different priorities, and that's fine. But like when I go and like that is not my priority of what men are going to be here, am I going like who I'm looking for type of thing. But yeah, I think it's just like remembering what you were passionate about, what you cared about, like who your friends were before, and like not switch it up.
Yeah. Agree. Yeah, I don't know. I think behavior is just over relationships and men has just kind of changed a little bit, because you do kind of see this movement. It's a much more of a popular conversation about decentering men and not being friends with women who center men like way too much. I guess, do you guys think that there's still a pressure societally around being in a relationship? Do you guys feel that pressure, if at all? Are you just kind of vibing? Like, what's everyone's thoughts on that?
I think for me, I would say no. I feel like the only pressure I really hear is from my mother, but other than that, she's the only one that brings it up. But I feel like in my friend groups and like in school and like like most of my friends are also in a single stage. I'm also single, so and only one of my friends is in like the engaged, about to get married phase, and so. I personally don't see any pressure to do it. I think it's like I am also in a phase where I'm like moved to a new city and still exploring and just like down for the vibes. And so I don't see it as embarrassing being single. I think it's a lot of fun, but I think it just depends on the people you surround yourself with and like who you're listening to.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it's any pressure. Like I'm in a relationship, but even when I was single, like I literally could care less. Like if people think I should be in a relationship or not. Boss just didn't feel anything towards me just because like it's also my life. So like I'm doing what's best for me. If someone was to pop up and he did, cool. Now I'm in one. But like it didn't pop up, then I'm not about to force it. And I feel like that's another thing too. Like when people do feel pressure, unfortunately, you might like feel forced to like try to make something work that might not work. And I think that's when like, bad relationships and like toxic relationships like get started. So don't fold into the pressure.
I think no, for sure. I think especially as like for me and Faith, especially as we're getting older, I think we're starting to see it a little bit more where it's like, or actually, I don't want to say that because I haven't seen it personally, but you hear about it a little bit more where it's like, once you hit your 30s, you're willing to look past a few more things. And, it's not someone like dogging you out per se, but it's like, I don't like this character trait, but like, do I want to start over? I'm on like a time crunch or whatever. And I think that that's, as we get older, it's something that we hear a little bit more. And so agree that I'm single right now and I don't feel the pressure to be in a relationship, but I'm on the other side of the spectrum where it's like, I've been told I run a very tight ship. I run a very strict program over here.
As you
And
should.
so like,
As you should.
yeah, and I feel
Yeah.
like I'm not in that space yet where I'm like, okay, I just like need to get married, and if I have to like look past a few things, I have to look past a few things. I on the complete other side of the spectrum where it's like you're breathing a little wrong. So I'm like, I'm not looking past things. And so I think that there is a balance because like obviously every little thing that annoys me can't be a reason to like not be in a relationship, but at the same time like there are certain things that I'm not particularly willing to compromise, and I'm in a space where I'm like, okay, if that means we've heard the whole conversation about Tracy Ellis Ross, and she did an interview with Michelle Obama recently, and she was like, there's not a single man out there that is like worth my peace. And she was like, I would literally rather stay single than be in a relationship where I'm going back and forth. It's chaos. I'm not happy, like all these different things. If I find a partner and he makes me feel not those things, then wonderful. But if not, then like I'm cool with it. I think that's like kind of where I'm at too. So
yeah, I think you brought up a great point about like the difference of the pressure of being in a relationship, of like getting a man versus like keeping your man. I think now it's like the pressure is limiting or getting a little bit lower on women to like find a man. But I feel like then once you are in the relationship, there's a lot of pressure from like society and family. And also like I feel like women then tend to put it on themselves like, well, now that I got him and I'm almost this age and I want to have a kid by this age, I kind of have to keep this guy because who knows what's going to happen if I drop him, even though he might be one of the worst men you've ever met. But it's like, it's my time. And I think that's what's like scarier than like the before part, because then people get locked into something that is maybe not the right situation for them. And I think it's hard because as women, like there is like some things that, you know, past a certain age you may not be able to do. And I think what's beautiful about where we are right now in society though is like a lot of like scientists or sciences or what do you call that, sciences are getting better to where like women can't have a kid without a man. Like now we are able to have like more choices, which I think is like really cool and also like inspiring. Even as someone like who's in a relationship, I'm like, wow, like you really don't have to build a life around a man. Like you can still have a very, what do you call that, gratifying life without. And I think that's just so beautiful. So
agree. I think that that's like the one aspect of it that I do kind of feel pressure about. And I've always been on the fence. Anyone who knows me knows I've always been on the fence about like, do I actually want to have kids or not? I think that I would be a really good mom. Childbirth actually scares me. Like, that is something that's like completely just
get past that part.
To me. Yeah, it's just like so scary to me. And I've always been on the fence on like if I actually want to bring kids into the world or not. But I think growing up, you always heard that like after this age, you can't really have kids anymore and all that type of stuff. I will say that the conversation around like freezing your eggs or like what are the options, I feel like that conversation has gotten a lot louder, which has been very comforting. Like seeing people my age, seeing people younger than me go freeze their eggs, like just that they have them just in case. And so it gives a little bit of leeway, like so you don't have to feel like, okay, I need to like hurry up and lock in and make a decision and figure out what I want to do, where it's like, no, I actually have time to like make this decision and I have options either way. I guess while we're on the conversation of like social media and things just being amplified a little bit more, I would love to just ask, what are you guys' thoughts on posting a man? Are you guys like, I don't care if my man's on social media, or are you guys like, you'll see him when we've been married for 5 years?
I have never posted a man. The reasoning behind it, I think it's also the thing of like, you know, a man could embarrass you. However, I think that I would eventually post a man. I'm not on social media enough like that. If you look at my social media, I don't really post like that. I don't really be on, you know, Instagram like that to start with. But I feel like I would post a man at a big stage, like at like we are locked in. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And but I'm not posting you until we get to that point. Like I have no question that you are not embarrassing me in this world. Now, granted, like on my actual feed, I don't post enough. I think the first actual post I would have of a man is probably an engagement, but story something at that stage, fine, whatever. But I've never posted a man, no.
I like
That's so
posting
funny.
my man, but lately, lately, I'm like, should I post him? But then I'll tell that to people, and they're like, "Am I like, we already know you have a
Yeah.
man
Yeah.
and what
You're
he looks
past
like."
that.
It's like
That's
at
what
this
people
point, if you stop posting him, it's gonna be like, okay, well, I guess they broke up.
Exactly. I think it's a little too late, but I'm trying to think of ways I can scale it back,
Mm.
make it more secretive because my little cousin,
Make it more
she already
secretive.
has she already has her, mind you, she's 18, she just turned 18. She already has her rollout plan of how she's going to launch her man who does not exist yet because she doesn't have a boyfriend. And I'm like, wow, you're so savvy. Like, you're already thinking ahead. But I also think, y'all, as a society, we've got to stop. I think it's okay not to post your man, but if you post your man and you blur his face or you
That's
put
crazy.
an emoji
Come
over his
on.
face, I'm
Okay,
coming for
no.
you because don't post him. I'd rather you not post him or show an arm than
Yeah.
like, I saw this post in my timeline the other day. I don't know. I don't even follow this girl, so I don't know how it even came on my Instagram
I know
feed.
exactly what you're talking about. It came
The
up.
whole, I was like, is something
Yeah.
wrong?
There was an there was an engagement picture that someone posted and like completely blurred out their face, but like did the whole
I saw
like
that one
body
too.
picture.
See,
That's crazy.
that's insane.
Y'all.
No, we got it. That
I
we
feel like
gotta
if you're
stop.
blurring their face out, then you know he's doing wrong and you don't want to be embarrassed because
It's
Yeah.
like one of two things. It's either he's ugly or like
aw.
or you're just scared. And I feel like if you're that scared,
Don't
shouldn't-
post him.
You shouldn't post.
Yeah.
Or even take it to the next step, you shouldn't be with him. If
Exactly.
you feel the need
But
to
actually,
potentially avoid being embarrassed, we've got to stop, y'all. It's crazy.
Like, it seems like both of y'all have some work to do. If that's
Like, seek help.
that's funny.
I've posted a meme before. I also, it was more back in the day where Instagram was more like post whatever, who
Post
cares?
anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, now I would if I'm like confident. Like if I'm, and I think you should be confident in your relationship. I don't think that there's
Mhm.
anything wrong with that. But like I think that like if I believe that women have like some type of gut intuition where it's
Yeah.
like you shouldn't be posting that man because you know that there's something going on here.
Mhm.
And like I do think that there is a level of like posting your man that used to be for like some type of validation, because I do think that like there are conversations that would come up where it's like, oh, my man never posts me, like what's the deal, like does he actually care about me, is he embarrassed about me, XYZ, where like in reality some people are like Brooklyn and they're just not on social media like that, or they like to
Yeah.
live more private lives, or there is like there were a couple comments on the article where it's like, oh, people, I'm scared of like the evil eye. People see like you're happy and then they start giving you all this bad energy, and like people get jealous and all that type of stuff. And
People
so
are
it's
so
like,
silly.
the whole like monitoring spirits type conversation where it's like
Okay.
people see you happy and then they're like, oh no, I don't want that to happen. So they just start putting negative stuff into the air, either willingly or not. And
It's
so
not
it's
funny,
like and so I think that like I don't know. I think that in this day and age, like I would post a man, I would post very sparingly. And I think that that's like fine. So I don't know. I don't feel the pressure either way. I mean, maybe I'll get in a relationship and change my mind and be like, oh no, I love this man, I'm just going to post him all over the place. But I
Yeah.
think that like me personally, I probably would post him, just like not as much.
Wait, I have a quick question. What would y'all do if y'all man said, why don't you post me? You should post me more.
Is that a hypothetical?
It's happened to me, not in my current relationship, but it has happened to
I'm
me.
gonna say I
before.
know my brother's not.
He would never.
But Amaya, was he posting you,
baffled.
or was he just like, why did he ask that?
Oh. He definitely, he had his own issues. That's why we're no longer dating. But yeah, I don't know if he was posting me. Wow, that's a great question.
I think there's a difference, to answer your question, I think there's a difference in authenticity and like staging, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
If you are like trying to force me to post, like why are you why are you pushing it this hard? Like if it's just like a natural, oh, we took this cute picture, let me post it, that's fine. You post this picture right now, like that's crazy. I think like
I saw or no, I didn't see. I listened to a podcast called The Read, obviously OG Black pop culture podcast. And there was this listener letter, and the girl had like written this very sincere listener letter where she was like, you know, me and my man have been dating for like 4 or 5 years, best man in the world across all accounts, but like our engagement, the pictures weren't giving. So like, what do I do? And like I've been wondering if I should ask him if we could just like redo the engagement or like redo the proposal so that way like I get better pictures. And they were like, girl, what?
It can never be
that literally deep. Just said that he is like the perfect man emotionally, like physically, like what are we actually talking about? And so I do think that there is some like level of validation still. I think that everyone likes to kind of put up this front of like, oh, no comparison, everyone's like running their own race. And I do think that that's how we should live, but I also do think that there's some level of like like there is some level of like performance on social media still, especially in this era of so much like content creation and everyone either like being content creators or like aspiring to be content creators. And there are content creators out there. I'm gonna say her name because I think that like I think it was a big conversation. It's not a secret. But like Monet McMichael, for example. Everyone loved Monet McMichael until she started putting that man in her stuff. And like I don't mind Jalen Noble. I actually like think that their relationship is cute. I think that their story was cute. I'm side-eyeing the age difference a little bit because it, you know, I have my thoughts. But
wait,
like,
what's the age difference?
I think that it's not a big age difference. It's more so like I think it's like 4 or 5 years.
Let's see. Okay. It might be bigger. He's 33.
Oh.
And she's younger than me, I
was
think.
Gonna say, she was around my age.
Yeah, I think she's 25.
Yeah.
7
okay.
years,
so 7 years.
Okay.
Okay, yes. That's why I said I side-eyeing the age difference a little bit because it's like 7-ish years, which I don't think is bad in theory. Like I don't think that 7 years is like, oh my gosh, drastic. I do think that when they started dating, she was very young. She was legal. I'm not saying she wasn't legal, but I do think that there's like there's a certain age bracket of like 18 to like 23, 24 that are like very formative years of like your brain actually forming and being able to make good decisions and stuff like that. And so I think when like an older man kind of comes in and they're able to kind of like warp, you know, how it is that you might think or like decisions that you might make. Not saying that that's what's happening there, but I do think that that's like something that women have to be very aware of. And I always kind of side-eye I always kind of side-eye big age differences when the woman is like under 25. Like I think that that's just always something I look a little bit deeper at. But all that to say, when Jalen started showing up in her content more, you would hear people on social media and you would see people on social media be like, oh yeah, I used to like her, but I don't want to see that man, girl. We came here to see you and your content and all this stuff. Yeah,
people have treated them rough.
And it's like for her to be one of the biggest influencers in the world, or I don't want to say in the world, I don't know if that's accurate, but at least in the US. Yeah, she's huge. And so like for her to even be getting that commentary of like, girl, you will lose this audience if you don't
you don't dump that man.
Yeah.
Oh, like, that's sad though. Wild. Like if you really think about it, that's
trying
crazy.
To love her man, and everyone's like, we hate him. And she's like,
people hate to see
it. Yeah.
He's very, from what we see though, he's very nice and kind and great to her. Like, I think he put some of their business out on Front Street when like he was like, oh yeah, she be paying for stuff. Yes, she makes like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I didn't either because it kind of did, the way he said it made it seem like he was kind of mooching off of her. But don't quote me. Wasn't it like $40 million a year or something she was making? Sister, you're gonna have to come up off that.
Yeah. You're gonna have to buy me dinner.
Cover some stuff.
Yeah.
You're making that much more than me? Like, I think that that's fine, but I think he also could have kept that to himself. Like, we didn't need to hear that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think overall the sentiment is changing, which is interesting. Now let's transition into some listener questions. We asked if there were anything that we could answer for some of the listeners, and we got some good ones. So our first question is, as a single girl who does eventually want to be in a relationship, what do you recommend I do in the time between to enjoy myself and enjoy this time of singleness?
Okay, so I think when you're single and like you do want to be in a relationship, then you have to kind of be like intentional, like still enjoy your time being single, but like, okay, I actually like remember like writing down like what I wanted and like my future husband. And I think also just like being intentional using the right wording, like you want to be in a relationship with someone short term, you want to fling, or you ready for like your husband. So like make sure like when you're writing things down, you're kind of like being specific. So you have to be like realistic. Like, are you even ready to be in a relationship? Like, do you have some healing to do and like some mental health things that you have to like get in order before you're in a relationship? Do you have goals that you still haven't hit yet that you're so worried about being with a man or a woman that you're overlooking because you'd rather do that instead? And it's not like you get in a relationship and it's like, oh, I'm going to do all these things I want to do. Now there's like a whole nother layer of like someone that's like in your life. You want to make sure like you're including them, but also like staying true to yourself. And it's kind of like a balance you have to find. So if you don't have that balance before the relationship, you're not going to
It's
have
like
it
you have even
during.
less time.
Exactly. And then overall, you have to stop talking to the people that you've probably been talking to for years that are keeping your husband away from you. So your little fling that you hit up at 3 a.m., you gotta
Ooh.
stop talking to him.
Ooh.
On it. People gotta let it go.
Yes, you have to let it go.
Yes, stop
Yes,
spinning that
like
block.
well, like so serious, you have to stop spinning the block. You have to like just stop talking to people that you know you shouldn't be talking to, because why would God or whoever you believe in put someone in your life that's good for you if you haven't even got over the phase one of what you need to get over? So I think you just have to like really do some like deep diving into your soul and into your life and really just make sure that like if you're going to get the person that he's sending for you, and maybe you already sent it and you can't tell because you're just so scatterbrained and so blind to everything else. But I feel like you just really have to do like some real work to like really get the person that is supposed to be for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a word, sister.
Oh.
Sure. I can add on. I can add on to that what Faith was saying, like invest in yourself for yourself, like becoming the best version of yourself solely for you. Like Faith was saying, like getting up off of your traumas, like healing, like understanding like what your passions are, what you like to do. Like I like to invest a lot in my friendships in those stages, like what makes me happy every day, what doesn't make me happy, like creating my boundaries, like all of those things that I feel like if I would have had those going into like my last relationship, I would have maybe like it would have maybe been a little bit more successful, and it wasn't. And so like just knowing like kind of how you can improve yourself, because we've all got our flaws, like understanding those flaws and like working to become a better version of yourself every day. And that might mean finding love through your friendships, finding love through your family. Different, you can get love from different places. Working on those relationships will help you become a better version of yourself for the next relationships. Everything that Faith said, like just work on yourself, heal, all those things, let go of the past relationships, and that will help you go
that's
forward.
a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, one thing that I just thought of is practicing the things that you need to work on outside of romantic relationships. And that's like a big thing for me this year, not even through the lens of like, okay, I want to be ready for a relationship, but like my thing this year is I need to work on my patience. I need to like actively work on that. And I think that ultimately it will be beneficial for a future relationship, but like I need to work on my patience with my friends and my coworkers and people who just like irritate me. Traffic, like I need to just work on patience in general. And so like if you're in the single era, there are different personality traits to what Brooklyn was saying that you need to work on, and like everyone has personality traits that they need to work on, but like in this single era you have like the opportunity to work on it outside of the relationship, so that way it's not something that shows up during a relationship and now it's like you have no patience, oh we can't be together kind of thing, like work on that now. So
And a big one, real quick, I'll add communication. We're adults. We need to know how to
Mhm.
communicate going into relationships.
Yes.
So you need to
Yes.
be able to fully communicate, say how you
Mhm.
feel to everybody around
Mhm.
you before you can even think about going into a relationship.
That's true.
Yes.
Mhm.
Another big one.
All right. Our second question is, what are some non-negotiables to avoid losing yourself when you're in a relationship?
I think a lot of what was just said about when you're single, like you have to also do those things in a relationship. Like you shouldn't ever stop working on yourself and like
Mhm.
also building like your, what do you call that? Like building up your personality. I call it like your personality box. Like what makes you you is never going to change. But this may be controversial, or maybe I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but there is some times where I do think it's okay and beautiful to get lost in your relationship. I feel like especially like in that like first 6 month period, not that you have to put your friends aside, but you do. I think it's like important to grow your relationship. You do kind of have to
Mhm.
lock in on that, like, and spend a lot of time together so that you have something like to build off of. And then once you got that, you can say, okay, now I'm gonna take a pause in my relationship, but this is gonna take the back seat for a little bit. I got other things that
Yeah.
I want to
Mhm.
accomplish. And I think that
Yeah.
it's a natural ebb and flow, at least how I've approached it in my relationship. To saying, okay, like this is like me season. This month, I love you so much. I love you so much. But like, if I have to hang out with my friends or if I want to spend time alone, that's going to take like center stage. But then like,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
anniversary month. It's you and me, babes. Like, no one
Mhm.
else. We're looking at each other. So I think having that like balance over time, and that's something that everybody in their own relationship will have to figure out like what works for them. But I think
Mhm.
that is like important. And just always prioritizing your girl time, because that always helps me keep me grounded, and also prioritizing alone time, which is hard once you start living with the man.
Yeah.
That's hard.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Because I'm
That I'm
like,
still
this
working on.
I'm like, this is my alone time with y'all. I kicked them out the house.
That's like the only time you get.
That's exactly what I was gonna say too, is making sure that you still schedule in alone time, but also being intentional about scheduling time with your
Mhm.
friends or like to do things without your man too. So that way you can like have your girl time, have, hobbies and stuff that you like actually like are interested in too. I think that something I've been guilty of in the past is like, oh, like I don't need to do that hobby anymore. I only have so much time, and so like this can kind of like
Mhm.
fall to the wayside. But I think it's so important to just make sure that you're actually doing the things that you love still, and it's not taking a back seat just because you have less time. So like at the end of the day, everyone needs to have their own motion and their own things going on. Like you can't just wake up and go to sleep every day and the only thing that like you're even remotely interested in learning about or doing anything about is your relationship. So just like having
Yeah.
your own thing to focus on too.
And I think that
Yeah.
also makes your relationship better. Like when
Mhm.
it's just him and I spending so much time together, you sometimes run out of things to talk about because y'all
Yeah.
haven't split up to like
Mhm.
experience anything else besides each other. And you also just
Yeah.
naturally get like more like irritated with each other because you're
Yeah.
all up in each other's business. So
Mhm.
it's very healthy to,
Mhm.
prioritize yourself. I think it is a beautiful thing that people do.
Yeah. I want to add one more thing. Adding to what Bria said, like making sure, well, what everyone said, like make sure you have time for yourself. But also, like with me and my boyfriend, we have like a lot of common like mutuals and a lot of friends in Atlanta. So like he'll be like, oh, I'm going here, and I'm like, oh, well, like my person's going here too, so I'm gonna go. Or like I say I'm gonna go somewhere, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go too. So I think now I'm just like, okay, well, I'll skip this event. You can go hang out with them, and I'll go see them later on. Just so it's
Mhm.
like you guys said, like so you have like certain time away from each other. But I think it's also just important to like remember that like you're individuals and you have like different relationships with everyone. So it's like you can't foster like if we're together at an event, we're pretty much like with each other. We're still talking to our other friends. Like we can't really foster and like really hang out with your other friends if you're like with each other all the time.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Time hanging out where it's like it's just me, not me and my man. So
Yeah.
all right, let's move on to put me on and put that down. We're gonna do this one relationship edition. So green flags, icks, things that you want to pick up or put down relationship style.
Oh, I can start. My put me on for the week is, even though men are embarrassing, don't be embarrassed because the man is embarrassing. That shouldn't reflect on the woman too much. I feel like we put a lot of like, oh well, she shouldn't have done that, or like she shouldn't have been with him knowing blah blah blah. But I'm like, the action and the fault is with the man. I think we should take some responsibility, blah blah blah. But I'm also like, I think that fear of being like blamed for a man's actions is like negatively impacting people's ability to connect with the man, because they're so afraid that something bad is going to happen, that I feel like I can see a lot of women like pulling back or not being like authentically putting their love out there. So put y'all on to loving out loud, and to a certain extent, stop being afraid of the man embarrassing you. And then for putting down, stop being in people's relationship. We were just talking about Jalen Noble, and it kills me. Even though I do have some like parasocial relationships with some internet people, like when Alex Earl and her man Braxton broke up, I was sick. I wasn't crying with my girl, but I was crying.
I'm just not figuring this out. I'm like, what? She was flirting with I'm about to say Tony Hawk. Tom Brady.
I said, that's crazy. Good for her ish for moving on, but also, girl, wrong man, I think. But see, even like that, like, who am I to say she's flirting with the wrong man? So I need to put that down for myself as well. But we gotta stop. We gotta stop letting people get in between people's relationship. It's getting ridiculous.
That's sweet. My put me on, I touched on it a little bit earlier, but my put me on is really just throwing yourself into hobbies and what makes you excited. I think it's independent of if you're single or in a relationship, but I think that especially at this age, it's so important to figure out what it is that we like and enjoy, because once you are in a relationship or you don't, once you are in a relationship or you get married or you have kids, it's like the time that you have is like a upside down triangle. And especially once those kids get involved, it's like you have less and less time to explore and like figure out what it is that you're interested in. And I think that, you know, having kids or getting married isn't like a death sentence to fun. I don't believe in that, but I think it does decrease significantly the amount of fun that you're able to have. And so I think that once you get married and have kids, the free time that you have is more about like, let me do the things that I know I like to do versus like, let me use this time to explore things that I like to do. I think that just becomes like a little bit of a shift almost, because you just have less time to like play around with almost. And that's not everyone's situation, but I do think it's important that no matter what stage you're in, just exploring what it is that you like and figuring out what those hobbies are that make you excited. We're putting down dating apps. Dating apps are
please.
I think it's time.
We are putting down dating apps, and it really be blowing me because so many people in LA and then like people that I know personally are like, oh yeah, I met my man on Hinge during the pandemic. And it was like 2020 Hinge was probably much different, but I was in a relationship in 2020, so I didn't even experience it. But 2020, you had no option but to be on Hinge. It was like you had to be on a dating app or you just sit through the pandemic and like you're maybe dating through like social media or stuff like that, or you know, people hopefully weren't outside to that extent that we are now. But like post-pandemic world, I don't know what it was during the pandemic, but it is the trenches in the dating apps right now. Like one day I'm gonna pull together a collage of all of the different profiles that I've seen and just like show y'all what we're actually working with, because like the answers to the prompts, not even physically, not even pictures. I think that physically Hinge really is just disrespecting me, because like, why would you think I'm attracted to this? But also, I think like even the answers to the responses that these men are giving, I'm just like, what is going on? So we're putting down dating apps, and I guess we're picking up meeting men authentically, because no more.
Mine are super quick. My put me on. Dating with no expectations, just going in and like, if that turns out to be a good friend of yours, it does. If that turns out to be further, that's okay. Like going in with no expectations of that it needs to turn into something, I think can make dating more exciting and more fun and just more genuine, and not having like the expectation of it has to turn into something serious. My put that down, not knowing your worth. If these men embarrass you, it's okay to leave. It's okay. Like, don't let these men embarrass you publicly. And I am talking about some of our celebrity friends that are very popular at the moment. You know, if these men embarrass you, you don't have to accept a proposal. You don't have to, you know, still go back to them. It's okay to move forward. It's okay to let them go. You have to know your worth, add your own tax. And like, if these men do not meet that expectation, it's okay to let them go, and that is perfectly fine.
Just a very quick aside on that, I firmly believe that Mariah the Scientist's career would have taken off if she would have said no on that stage.
No,
I'm not even a fan. I'm not even a fan of Mariah the Scientist like that, but I would have been supported. I would have been like,
I would have had to pop on the song
because she knew her worth.
Yes. She would have gotten the brand deals, but now she's just attached to an ancient man. Like, that's literally all she is now at this point, which is unfortunate. But yeah, we're putting that down too. That's a good one.
Put that down. No ancient men. Okay, now put me on. This is kind of goofy. Okay, it's kind of goofy, but also not really. Put me on like the real men. Now I'm not saying like you can't be like in tune with your emotions. Like still do that, but like I just remember like me and my boyfriend, we were friends for like years. And like one time he had to change my tire. That's when everything flipped. I'm telling you. Like I was like,
you said, hold on.
No, boys, they don't know how to, no shade. They don't know how to grill anymore. They don't know
no,
how
all
to
shade. All shade.
We should do an X episode. We should do
no
it.
shade to my brother because he doesn't know. He knows now how to grill, but he doesn't know how to grill. Boys don't know. Boys, we don't knowing how to build nothing, change tires.
And also it's like, okay, cool, if you like didn't learn it growing up. Majority of people didn't, but like if you're like over 25, it's time to learn. Even for like women, there's stuff we probably didn't know growing up, and we're learning it now just because like we want to be better women and know how to do things. So it's like, yes, grilling, tires, building stuff, opening doors. Like, why are we touching doors? So it's just like, I don't know, like being a manly man. Like, let's bring that back, please. Oh yeah, then stop saying y'all are the prize. Like, for one, why does it matter? What is the prize? Why does the prize really have to be either one of us? Is a relationship not the prize? The box? Like, shit, I don't know. It's like it's such a weird thing that people get so stuck on in like these social media conversations, and it's just like y'all are talking in circles and everyone is single. So like, who cares?
Yeah.
That TikTok where he's like, women don't want a male baddie.
Oh
no!
I just saw that and I'm like, I don't. I literally don't.
That's serious. He was dead ass.
I would date a woman if I wanted a baddie.
He was.
I don't want a male baddie.
That's crazy.
I don't want one.
Male baddie? Please
like,
be
what does that mean?
The way he spun in that chair is what did it for me.
No.
Sassy.
No. Like, stop.
He said, no.
That was funny. And yeah, we don't want that. So that's fine. Dang, I put that down. Oh, okay. Okay, I feel like to put that down, and maybe this is like more so for like the younger gals, like maybe 25 and under. But like, I think Brooklyn was kind of speaking to this too, but like, don't be afraid of heartbreak. Like, if you're like afraid to like talk to someone, of course, if they have like all these red flags and all these things going on, then yes, do not talk to them. But if it's like a cool person, like, try it. Like, even if you're afraid that something might happen, you're gonna be afraid like your entire life. And honestly, I feel like being heartbroken like kind of adds to your plot, and like I feel like people kind of need that to like, I don't want to say boss up, but you need to like go through things so you know what not to go through in life. Yeah, like you need to know like not what to put up with, and of course I think it's way better to go through it like under 25. Like, don't be 30 over here just like doing whatever.
Yeah.
But I think like at least if it seems like a okay situation, like just go for it and try it.
Yeah, agree. I've told people all the time, I paid my dues. I've dealt with the worst of the worst. So I feel I've dealt with it all. So like I know now. I think that's why I'm in the space I'm in now, where I'm like, I'm cool right here until I know exactly like what it is that I'm interested in. Well, that was a fun episode. Thank you guys for answering all the questions. I know it was a good conversation, and thank you to listeners for tapping in with us. If you have any questions for us, or if you want to connect with us on social media, please connect with us at theheysisterpod@gmail.com or theheysisterpod on Instagram, We're on TikTok and YouTube as well if you want to watch the video for podcasts moving forward. And with that, we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening. Bye, sisters.
Bye,
Bye,
sisters.
sisters.
Sister.